And basically it started with this sticker that I put up over in um, Arab Street. So I remember when I first came upon this, what sparked off this entire series was pretty much my experience with a lot of people in the local community. It was through a lot of research. It was through a lot of observations on the people, local climate, why things were happening to some people and why some things weren't. It was a lot of reflection. It was a lot of things that were put together and made me question why were things happening in such a way? Why were things happening like this in Singapore? Why is it that we are not embracing some things that we should find or we should place as very important? Why are we not recognizing our culture? What is our identity? All these things just came up to me. And so with it was, to me, it was alarming at a rate that we were progressing. There was almost no trace or very little traces of what our culture is. A lot of it was, we were progressing so fast that it was as if globalization was a big thing here. We were a first world country. And with that, there were so many foreign influences. But whatever that we had in the first place, that we've actually honestly progressed in its rawest form, that was disappearing. We were speaking really good English. I mean, that's not a problem, I know nothing wrong, nothing against speaking proper English. But there's a mentality that came along with that. And it was very much like they were being ashamed of being Singaporean, and that was alarming to me. They didn't really want to, they regarded the colloquial terms, mannerisms, as degrading, even, or a lower form of being a person in Singapore or something. It was just like, oh, you're of a lower class if you speak like that. It was things like that, and it was pretty disturbing to me. I mean, I've met some people, and that was what I thought about, and that made me think, our language is very unique to us, along with our food and all the other things that people consider to be Singaporean. But when I start asking people, what is it about being Singaporean right now, and they can just tell me, oh, it's our food, it's our la, and stuff like that. But really now, do you really still think about things like that? And so with the changing landscapes that we see happening in our country every day, new buildings are being put up, buildings are being brought down at the same time. All our old buildings, they're not conserved anymore. And so I find all that identity was just slowly eroding away, and I wanted to do something about it. I wanted people to think about where we are going right now. And so I started this little campaign, and I started using Singlish because I recognize Singlish as the most honest form of progression that we have of our culture. And so using street art as a medium, to me, street art is taking back spaces. It is reclaiming things as our own. And so I used Singlish stickers and put colloquial terms on it and labeled them on our things, on our objects, on things that were ours. So this came about, press once can already pretty much means you just need to press once. It was based off the idea of people always being really, really impatient when you're waiting at traffic lights. So if you notice, right, usually when you're going to cross at a traffic light crossing, there will definitely be someone who will be like this, ta 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 ta. You say, okay, maybe if you press more, the light will change faster. And you're really, really impatient, So it kind of annoyed me to an extent. It's like, hey, go easy, man, And so, but that was also a very uniquely Singaporean thing. I realized a lot of old uncles, old aunties, everyone is so impatient. And so we came out with the idea for press once can already, and it started a whole series of stuff. I remember right after I pasted this one, like maybe about a minute later, there was a lady who actually walked and pressed the button once, and then she was like, eh? And she actually smiled, and I was like, okay, hey, you know what? I think I might be doing something good. And it gave birth to a lot of other stuff. I think you've probably seen all that on the newspapers and also on my website. All these stickers that I came up with were pretty much a reflection of local mannerisms and quirks, which I found were very unique to us. We're always in a need to rush to some place, and we're always in a hurry to go somewhere. We're always very impatient, you know? So I came up with all these different pieces to illustrate the point. No need to press so hard. Sometimes you can even go louder, no, when you press da, da, kind of thing. They get really impatient. Press until show. So I was trying to imagine, every time I did a piece like that, I was imagining the people themselves pressing a button a lot of times, and I was trying to mock them in some way. So like panic button would be like, pretty funny. So after that, I extended beyond that and moved to using that same circle on different things, just to talk to them in a way. I wanted to go beyond traffic light stickers. So Stop Looking at Your Phone was actually placed somewhere in town, in the CBD area. It was a pretty big one. I mean, the biggest I could print was probably like 2 A3 pieces joined together. So whenever they walk around, they're never not on their phones. They're always walking around like this, you know, and they never really look at the floor. Sometimes I actually knock into some of them on purpose. And yeah, this was that. Anyhow, Pace Kena Fine. I purposely put it on a security thing. Oh yeah, and the scramble walk got me in trouble. I am so honest in this talk right now. I'm not even supposed to be so honest. But So Kanchong for What was a pretty fun project. It was on the scramble walk sign. And I thought it'd be pretty funny to like illustrate the point that we just really, I don't know, I just think it's funny. My grandfather one gave birth to something on that you probably a little bit more familiar later on. It was like my way of like labeling things that were mine, my grandfather's, you know, tagging in a way. No need to press so hard on a squeeze bottle. I'm sure it's pretty straightforward. And so my next project became this, which I know a lot of people probably know of. These tags only lasted for 1 day. They were all in a central business district. Got me in trouble big time for this one, and that's how people got to know of me and my work. The first picture you see is done right opposite the Ministry of National Development. It's a suicide note right there. Yeah, my grandfather road is actually one of the more popular colloquial terms that we have in Singapore. Every time when it was actually based off the idea of jaywalkers or people who couldn't wait at traffic light crossings. Everything that I placed, I made sure that it was relevant to the environment that it was in. So whenever they're going to cross the road or they don't wait for the light to change, when they just cross, it's as if they're saying it's my grandfather road. And it was also my way of saying it's your road lah, you know, it's your road, okay. So I thought it was pretty funny to go ahead and do that. After that, this is the third piece that I did, the third concept. I think some of you might know this, and seen this around pretty recently, for quite a while. Limpe, this is actually a wheat paste. I was trying something different this time around, and it was a little bit more of a critical look at the current situation, the current social political climate that we have in Singapore. So, as you know, this is based off the idea of obey. A lot of people, my work normally speaks to people who are around my generation, because I find that our generation are the ones who are going to be the next generation of Singaporeans, the majority of Singaporeans who will be living here and deciding things that are happening. So I wanted them to think about things and criticize certain things that are happening around us. And so when I did this piece, this face is a very recognizable face in Singapore, and I was touching on politics in this one. I don't think I can say so much about this at the moment. So, I don't know, it's, some people see it as negative, some people see it as positive, some people see it as objective. I try to keep, I would try to keep in the middle and not go either way. But I like to present a more critical view of something in its own right. So, well, after that I got arrested lah. This happened in June 5th. And I remember that when I got arrested, that was on a Sunday. I got arrested on June 3rd. 6 policemen knocked on my door and they came in. I was shitting my pants. They came in, they took all that stuff that you see right now on the newspaper report. They took all my stickers, they took my stencils. I remember I was like, when they came in and I showed them to my room, I was like, I can't run, man, this time around. I can't run. And yeah, so started questioning me and asking about what I've done, whether I was involved in this, and of course I can't run with all these like stencils in my house, right? and so yeah, I was locked up, brought back to cantonment, locked up, and I remember the whole experience of being in there was just mind fucking, man. And sorry if my voice is shaky, I'm kind of freezing. So what happened was, they brought me in about like 9 p.m., 10 p.m. And sorry, thank you. I say I read this first. So, anyway, I was in lockup for about 22 hours. The first 7 hours I spent were from maybe about 12 midnight to 7 a.m. You have no idea how the time passes in there. There are no clocks, no nothing. The only way you could actually find out was to ask the wardens, or like if they were walking past your cell and they had a watch, you just like sneak a peek or something, you know. And pretty much 7 hours in there for the first room. You're handcuffed, you can't move. I think it was the same treatment that shoplifters and people like that get. They get locked up as well. Then after it brought for questioning, brought to another room. It was a pretty interesting process lah. I met a lot of people in there as well though, and I had some conversations with them. And some of them were actually much more credible than the people I meet outside. So it was an eye-opening experience. Great people, and they're really nice to me as well. They actually said sorry before they handcuffed me. It's pretty cool. So anyway, once I got out, I was thinking my world was over. Just like a few days before that, I got news about me graduating, and I thought my life was over after I got arrested. That was one of the most trying moments at the point of my life. But the minute I got back, I saw this. When I opened up my laptop, I saw so many black circles appearing all over Facebook. And I was crying. I was so touched. And after that, they had a petition. 15,000 people at that point. I mean, at the end of the whole thing, 15,000 people signed the petition, and I'm extremely grateful. It helped my parents through, it helped me through. And along with that came a lot of repercussions and a lot of fake pieces, parodies of my work. Yep. So, one was by the Today paper. There was another one done by Bricks, I can't find it. There was people who made memes out of it. And I'm sure you guys know Campaign City, I had nothing to do with it. Even Loan Sharks started using black circles recently. And then someone stuck a sticker saying, "Still sticking around, leaves glow alone." That was really cool. And yeah, people even like made digital copies of the black circle and put it on foreheads of political Tony Tan, who is our president. Eh, is it? Yeah. So at the end of the day, I learned that, you know, the one thing that I realized was that I read every single comment, every piece of feedback about my case. They started questioning about what is street art and what is vandalism. They say, is this art or is this vandalism? Everything like that. But at the end of the day, it's not so much of that. I mean, I'm glad there was a conversation going on. I'm glad people were thinking about things like that. What I wish to see more of was why. Why did they do it? What was the intention behind it? And maybe if you thought about that, you would know the difference, the clear definition between vandalism and street art in the first place. And there is a lot of room to grow. There's a lot of room for people to understand what street art is. And like what Kongo mentioned, the media plays a big part in it. On day one, when I was arrested, I was called a vandal. 2 days later, when people started making noise about it and retorting against it using social media, I was labeled an artist. What logic is this? So there is definitely more room for improvement, for understanding on this art form. There is a need for dialogue on this. There is a need for understanding on this. And I cannot stress that enough. So that's the reason why Zero will be talking about our next project.
Am I?
To help. Yeah, you're not, man?
A quick one.
Yeah. Oh, wait, sorry, do you have any questions?
Yeah. Any questions for
Hey, you just came.
Samantha? Or Sam?
Whatever rationale you had behind it, how the impact of your work. I mean, your work itself lah, besides.
Oh, yeah, what?
As in your work, do you
The
think?
impact of it, anticipate that? No. I didn't. I never anticipated any of this. I didn't.
You achieve your
Oh.
objective in
That.
I think you did.
Well, I mean, I'm really grateful that there was dialogue, for sure. I'm really grateful that people started talking about art in Singapore, especially.
Especially street art.
Especially street art in Singapore. Exactly that. It was always seen to be something that was vandalism, or it was seen to be something that only loan sharks would do. People think of vandalism, they think, oh, money pay money. They think Michael Fay, things like that. So in that sense, when you asked if I fulfilled my objective in creating dialogue, yes, I think so. But I think my ultimate objective was wanting to connect with people and being relevant in the first place. Because all this that I've done is not for me, it's for them. It's for them to think about. It is for them to reflect on their behaviors and what they are as citizens and what they are as Singaporeans in the first place. So I use colloquial terms, I use things that they could relate to connect to them, and that was my bond with them. And whether I fulfilled my objective in connecting with them, I think after 15,000 signatures, I think I did something. So yeah, I think I pretty much did something right. Yep.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes?
Okay, I'm not sure whether it's already covered because I came really late. I guess something that I've always been really intrigued and curious about is, and I think with a lot of other artists, is how do you balance, the art side, what you do, and then balance that with the more commercial aspects of projects and possible commissions. And I knew that there was something that, was something you thought about a lot, particularly after some incidents. And how do you move forward from that? Yeah.
Compared to everybody else in this table, I'm the youngest practitioner of this craft. I just came into it like not very long ago, actually. Actually, in fact, when I first met Kara, I hadn't even started doing anything like that. But regarding this this practice, balancing commercial and your integrity, honestly, I'm still finding out myself, man. I don't want to compromise anything on my integrity because that was the very strength of my work. But living in Singapore is not very easy. Living in Singapore, you gotta think about how to put food on the table and money in your pocket for your savings. You need to think about things like retirement. You gotta think about rising standards of living. You gotta think about being able to even have a roof over your head. And with that, I see a lot of local creatives having to compromise on their integrity. And that's a sad truth. Every creative's like that, not just street artists. Every artist, every designer, they have to think about compromising on their own beliefs and integrity and principles just so they could put money on the table. And every day they die inside, and that sucks. So, but yet again, it's everyone's decision, it's their own decision, we just have to respect that. If someone takes up a job that completely compromises on their principles, should you look down on them? I don't think so. Because they have their reasons for doing something like that. They need the money as well. And we shouldn't be like, oh, I disrespect you as an artist. Well, they have their own choices. Some other artists, I mean like, purists or maybe, or whatnot, they decide to go ahead strictly with their integrity and just like do other jobs, but they struggle. It's whether you want to live in a condo or a terrace house or like a big place or a flat. It's your choice. It's your own decision. We just respect that as people. And for me, I think I'm not really in that position yet. But I really hope I don't have to compromise anything, to be honest. But yet again, yeah lah, shit happens.